We'll see if we can continue, though. Currently leading Mousesports 3-0 in this best of 9 versus NewRoSoft in the lower corner, or lower portion, the centralized part of merry-go-round. The red Zerg player, Starbuck.
In upper right, as the blue Terran, it is Krass.
Krass has impressed us quite a bit. He's been handling pretty well in WCS. I don't know where he's at right now as far as this season goes, but I remember, there was really not a lot about this guy that caught my attention other than the fact that he qualified as a quote-unquote no-name last year. And I think a lot of people were like, whoa, wait, who's this dude? And he put on some good games, but didn't get too far. What I really like, though, and I will always draw back to this, he is the only Terran player I've seen beat Swarmhost in an unconventional manner. And Zombie and I cast this game a little while ago. It was Slivko versus Krass. It is on YouTube. I'd highly recommend watching it, even if you know the outcome of the game. But what ended up happening was it was a fully mined out habitation station for our Zerg player Slivko, who went Swarmhost. Krass didn't have enough tanks to fight the Swarmhost, so what he did instead was put down like countless auto turrets. And I'm not talking like 4 or 5 auto turrets, guys. I'm talking about like from the bottom of the map to the top part of the map, a full like Great Wall of China of auto turrets with like point defense turrets mixed in. It was really cool, and it's that sort of thinking outside the box way to play StarCraft 2 that, at least for me, makes me like catch an eye on that player, and you're like, wow, okay, I want to see more of this dude. It's part of why I love Starbuck, I'm going to be completely honest.
Well, Starbuck's doing something a little different right here. He went for a 14 pool with that gas, and unfortunately for Krass, this means that, his Reapers aren't going to do a lot of damage, and also getting the command center on the low ground, should he go for the low ground command center, it's going to be cancelled almost 100%, unless he has some really fancy Reaper micro.
Man, Reapers are so finicky in this matchup.
It's important that Krass did a scout with the SCV, by the way. Not only do you want to just, know where your opponent is on a 3 or 4 player map to get the Reaper over there as soon as possible, but to see that he doesn't have a... He just checked the natural! Oh,
yeah,
no.
He didn't go in all the way, so... I think he was expecting hatch first, which is, we know it wasn't the case.
Yeah. I've always wondered if this ever happens, because even though pool first has gotten a lot more popular in ZVT, people still only scout for the natural versus Zerg. And I'm like, does that always work? It seems like it wouldn't always work.
It's not just that it's popular, it's almost a necessity with Reaper aggression, especially with 3 Reapers having become more popular. There's a lot of StarCraft 2 where you see the game change, and you're like, okay, this just happened. But this is one part that we've really seen evolve, and it sounds so silly, but it's like the simplest part of StarCraft 2, where suddenly 2 Reapers became 3, and every Zerg player had to react to it a little bit differently. And this is actually a lot of links, by the way. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, the reason you do this is because you will, again, gain control of the low ground, and,
no! There's not a... Okay, so hang on. With speed finishing up here very quickly, this Reaper can't hold this off, but there's no way to repair that depot. So he can actually go through that command center. That's not a wall they're connecting the side.
Well, if it ever, he can put another supply depot down.
That's true. He could always try and build around it. Looks like he's actually doing that with the engineering base.
He thinks it's a Baneling bus. He thinks it's a one base Baneling bus, actually.
Oh yeah, because he never got back to scout the hatchery.
Yeah, so this is a little unfortunate. It's plain and simple. It's misinformation that's really gonna cost him a lot of money. If Starbuck were to come up here and see this, he's gonna be like, "Wow, you're spending a ton of money on something I'm not actually doing. Maybe I should just drone instead."
Okay, well, he cancels the engineering base. This was like a panic moment, but...
This is so risky. Don't try this at home.
This moment here, by the way, guys, this has caused so many heart attacks. Swapping the reactor. Because the worst feeling in the world isn't something running underneath it, but it's something hold positioning underneath it, so you can't actually land it to build Hellions.
That's the worst. You're like, no!
Right?
Terrible.
Every Terran player's been there at least one time in their career, and the worst, it was when a Protoss was like goddamn piling under it. Oh my god.
Yeah, I hate that.
Ooh,
so another problem already is that Starbuck isn't even like just droning. He's not getting a third, but he's also doing a Baneling bus. He's going for something, and I think what it's going to be is possibly a 2-base Muta, although he isn't getting that second or 4th gas rather.
There we go. Yeah, he is probably going to be 2-base Muta. This will work out really nicely. A lot of the times we see Zerg players actually struggle, not just with the... Oh, we had a sub. Sissy Faz! Thank you for the sub. Talk about more and love you in a bit. But one of the biggest problems here is like, you usually see the Hellions and Reapers absolutely deal with Zerglings, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think Golden is like the only person in the universe I've seen actually have Lings be super effective versus Hellions, not the other way around. But shy of that, the Mutalisks will be able to pick off the Hellions, the Reapers, but more importantly than that, the Banshee, which can sometimes spiral out of control so quickly.
Well, here's what's really nice about what Starbuck is doing. Not only do you sometimes have trouble already when you go for Hellion Banshee because you've already delayed your barracks and your stim, but now it's even more delayed because you had to take into account, not having the low ground command center and putting the factory. So his Hellions are later, his Banshee's a little bit later. All in all, everything's a little bit later, including those Marines, where Starbuck is now going to have a pretty nice time with those Mutalisks. Luckily for Krass, actually, he did not go for third command center, he just went immediately to those 2 barracks.
It's always hard to make that sacrifice, but I think a lot of that plays into the map as well. This is not a comfortable third for a Terran player to take. We've seen so many players just straight up lose their SCVs here. But yeah, that stim, oh boy, that 8.5 minute stim start, that is rough to deal with.
Yeah, he's gonna have, a tough time really spreading himself out, catching those Mutalisks, and should he, make a mistake, letting the supply depots down or something like that, and the links it in, suddenly it's not quite game over, but it's pretty bad. Okay, right. Drones, what you doing there?
Well, the Banshee scared him off, but I mean, I don't know. He would have lost a couple. The main actually has no Spore Caller, but the Overlord is here, so the Queens can deal with this.
Yeah.
Alright, so he loses about 5 drones. Not the end of the universe. I mean, that was an awkward pull, but...
Unfortunately, he didn't get the Scout and Aspire because, again, it is being, Overlord.
Sorry, I should have pointed that out. Yeah, I just saw the corner of the map and wrote it off because I'm like, yeah, it's Starbuck, whatever.
Yeah, so he did scout the lair, though. That isn't really enough to tell him because he could just be building the lair, he could literally put down the Spire right now and that would be okay. And you saw everything else, including the upgrades. But Krass actually throws down at least 1 precautionary missile turret.
Well, there's 2 Banshees now. 2 Queens actually can't deal with this. He will need to use the Mutalisks, but they're heading across the map. If there was a Spore on the main, this might look a little different, but actually not going for the Queen, but instead just going straight for drone kills. Going to cost one of the Banshees their lives immediately. A little bit greedy out of Krass to do so, because now back at home, Mutas get in. There's a couple Marines lurking about, but there's really not a whole lot here.
Yeah, the engineering, the turrets rather, just barely not done in time.
If he picks off that stim. If he picks off that stim.
That would be terrible. Probably won't happen. Probably.
That would be, I would almost call that game ending, honestly. It's so hard to reel off of, because you'd have to start it at, what, a 12-minute mark? No thank you.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Well, while the game calms down here a little bit, we got some Zerglings coming across the map. Sissy Fuzz, thank you for that sub. For those who don't know, if you sub to the channel, you get double Partoofs earned while here, but also our love and adoration, plus replay packs and all these other wonderful things. We do our best to try and take care of our subs, and the depot burns down, but there's not enough links to run through these Marines.
Yeah, and the Hellions come back too to help out. Should he have a 20 lings plus a few Bailings, that could have been really, really good for Starbuck.
Actually, Starbuck, I don't think he has Bailiness. Oh, he does.
He does. I don't think he has speed on it.
That's what I was looking for this whole time. That's the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade that he's not begun. So this is kind of
what was that?
As you fly into a turret as well. I think that was a moment. That was the misclick of the game, is what that was.
Well, that was a huge mistake. I mean, how many does he lose? 4 right there? I thought he was gonna lose them all.
Even though he didn't lose them all, that's still that was. It's not easy to get Mutalisk control, and if he had Bailings underneath this, if he had a lot of Zerglings behind it, you're kind of like, okay, well, whatever. He lost a couple Mutas, he'll reel off this, but this push coming with the Marines, there's not really a lot of ground support.
Yeah, and now the counterattack with Mutas really isn't that scary anymore, so it's not like he can buy more time by attacking into the main. As long as there's missile turrets, he should be okay. And that's a problem. Starbuck did not do a whole lot of damage with the faster Spire, and Krass, he's doing a regular, well, I mean, it's about 2 minutes late, actually, but still, it's good. It's 30 supply up. It's a great push.
What's funny about that Spire, actually? I don't know why you need to hide it versus a Terran player, per se, but this is kind of like the expected tech path, right? Versus Protoss, Mutalisk can be a surprise.
Well,
versus Terran, it's kind of like, hey, it's ZVT.
If you can get it really, really fast and then not expect it to be so fast, that could have been disastrous, but, I mean, so he had really good control, and
Hang on,
patient
speed just
about it.
completed, so now I can actually take this fight, but the medevacs go towards the main. Unfortunately, the Mutas were just a little shy of getting here in time, but with that Spore Crawler, only about 3 get out. Not a problem for these Mutas to deal with. So
Yeah,
suddenly
not the
this
best.
this was like a very scary attack coming out of Krass. Do not underestimate that, guys. And he's still got an army supply laid in a big way, but rather than Starbuck dying and getting caught off guard with the Mutalist dead, no bans available, he actually holds this pretty nicely.
Yeah, he pushes it back, but that wasn't all of Krass's army.
No, definitely not.
He actually he sacrificed one engineering bay in the course of this game, so he's only going to be on 2-1 as opposed to 2-2 as we're used to.
Oh yeah, that's a bit odd to see. Yeah, oh wow, I didn't realize Starbuck had that upgrade advantage. This is something, again, you kind of write off as like, the Zerg player will have an advantage, but not 2-1 over 2-2.
Yeah, usually they'll have like a 2-2 for like 20-30 seconds longer or something like that. If this really plays a big part, I don't know. At least he has the weapons upgrade so they can kill the banelings faster. I think it all still depends on positioning.
As long as you manage to sneak into this base, Marines are just a little off to the side, so the mules go down, and that's really unfortunate. A couple mules do get into the natural, but I feel like Starbuck just kind of wasting a lot of mutalisks this game.
Yeah, this doesn't seem worthwhile.
Yeah, it doesn't seem productive.
I think what is happening is that he's like, at this point, 60 minutes into the game, you're used to having a bigger muta ball, but because he opened the way he did and it didn't exactly do everything that he wanted to, he's just, he's doing old habits with lower amounts of mutalisk.
He does get a lift off of that third. He's killed quite a few SCVs, but also lost quite a few drones at the same time. What is the mutalisk count even at right now? 11. Ugh, not that impressive.
The main is also under attack, and actually it was a pretty good attack. Gas goes down, drones go down. Attack's still not quite dealt with, and now Krass is up by 60 supplies, so he just resaturates that.
Those banlings were at that third before. They went to the main to try and clean up the drop. This sucks for Krass, or for Starbuck rather, but it's looking really good for Krass. Again, double the army supply. He's got a big lead, and he's got so much banked up at home that even though these drops, they look like they're getting ineffective amounts of damage done because they get cleaned up, not the case at all. Because he's able to make more behind this, and quite frankly, Starbuck can't equalize these forces.
Yeah, Starbuck's trying really hard to, do counterattacks to buy some time, but every time he buys time, it's not really for anything. Like, he doesn't drone up heavily behind it, he just has to make more units because, well, Krass still has a counterattack to do.
Now, 4th Hatchery did go down, but it's also going to go down. Wordplay, as Krass finds this kind of for free. A lot of these Marines are stimmed without medevac support, though, and the banelings do roll right on into this, but with those Widow Mines, these mules have to be so careful about engaging. Where's that Overseer?
All he needs is a few lings, honestly. Those Marines are so low, but I think the 4th will be going down.
Oh no, the Widow Mines! Okay, he gets one. Could have been worse.
Despite Krass's lead in supply and army supply, I'm surprised he isn't just like rolling them over. I mean, he eventually taps out, but I thought a bigger army would be the one to kill Starbuck.
Yeah, right. Like I thought that was gonna be like that one big overwhelming push, but either way, that will cap Starbuck's win streak off at 3, guys. So we'll have to start a new bet. You'll have time to get those in pretty quick, but congratulations to the few of you who did bet on a 3-win streak. Cross